boy. So the first thing I'm doing is just letting Moth be aware of the clippers and feel okay with them. Good boy. Sometimes he really isn't, and when you've got an anxious dog like this who has had bad experiences about having his claws clipped when he was very much younger, you do need to make sure that they're in the right mood to be able to cope with it. If he had not had a good day, he has eyesight problems, and sometimes he will react to triggers in ways that he didn't when he was much younger. He didn't have the best start in life, bless him. So, and that's probably worth saying as well, that when you have a dog who, okay, so we're not even going to let me do that yet. When we have a dog who has had a bad claw clipping experience between 5 and 10 weeks before they leave the breeder, you can end up getting this kind of response. And he has always been very, very uncertain. He had 2 homes before he came to us, so it's taken a long time to get him okay with it. Anything that happens in those very early weeks becomes so deeply set with pups. So we still do things very slowly with him. So that, and now his head's disappeared off camera. So we'll just see if we can get this. So first thing that I do is I just take his paw. And I'm just going to hold it for a little while so that he feels okay. He's quite happy being stroked there. You can see there's a little bit of a lip lick and a swallow because he's not very sure. Mama, good boy. There's a clever boy. And because he's happily letting me hold that, I'm just marking and treating him for it. And now I'm just going to let him be aware of the clippers. He's a clever boy. I'll praise him, but he doesn't get marked, Mama, until he's moved his nose away from them. So I'll let him look at them again. Good boy, Mama. There's a clever boy. That's very, very good. Good lad. Clever boy. Mama, good girl. Good lad. Maggie's very, very interested in the clippers when they come out because she has had problems as well. And we've done a lot of work with her. And so they feel really good to her. So if another dog is having its claws clipped, she wants to be bang in the middle of it. So the first thing that I do is I just touch, and then I mark and treat him again. Oh, that's a good boy, clever boy. And I'm just going to touch them again. Mama, that's a good boy. You can see by the roundness of his eyes he's really not very sure about this. And the other thing is, just show you, if possible, his whiskers are really bristly, so they're absolutely shoved forward. There, can you see? You can see the indentations with the follicle pores, the skin pores. His hair follicles are attached here. So he's just pulled his paw away, so I've let him. Mama, boy. So normally I would mark them for moving their head away from the clippers because I don't really want them to be having their noses in the clippers whilst I'm trying to use them. But with him, I still need to try and make him feel really good about them. Good boy. There's a good boy. So he's just had a little thumb marker there. Clever boy. Now the thing about this is, as you can see, trying to set this up underneath the table is not the ideal place at all. It's not doing much for my back either. But the reason why I'm doing it is because this is where he's chosen to put himself, and I'm not pushing that. If this is where he's comfortable, then this is where we'll be. So I'm just giving him a little bit of a paw massage to make him feel a little bit easier about it. That's a clever boy. And I'm also, which you can't see, but I'm softening my eyes whilst I'm looking at him. It's quite difficult when we're doing this kind of work because when you're looking intently at something, our eyes naturally tend to, well, sometimes they squint, which is a good thing actually when we're doing this kind of thing. But sometimes if we're looking very intently at something, at a part of a dog's body, it can make them feel really uncomfortable. And I think when we get that concentration face on, and the intensity that comes with that. If you have an anxious dog, again, it can feel quite uncomfortable. So one of the things that I've had to work on myself with this is I try and smile through the whole procedure and make my face and my eyes as soft as possible. I don't find that very easy because as I've got older, my eyesight has gone. Good boy. And I find it a lot more difficult to focus. He's a clever boy. That's just lovely. Now, when I give him the treat, I take my hand away from his paw so that he's not having to think about his paw at all at the moment. All he's thinking about is that he is just getting reinforced for being nice and calm and just having a little brain break between each claw. And again, before I start going in again, I just give him a little bit of a massage. With the other dogs, I don't need to do that. I can go in there much more quickly and more easily, but with him I do need to take it very, very slowly because I just don't want to push him. One of the things that he did until relatively recently is, because I use these clippers on my toenails and fingernails, not the exact same clippers, but the same design. And if he heard me using them, he'd hide his paws down the back of the sofa. He's a clever boy. So the fact that he's just done a little bit of a pull away, so I've just respected that and taken my hand off his paw. His eyes are starting to go a little bit softer again. You can see that lip lick, which is a little bit of anxiety, although to a certain extent with him it can also be a degree of frustration and mouth watering, because he wants the treats. In fact, that is what's going on for him at the moment. That's less about anxiety. Love you. Good boy. Can I try again? And that he's just done there is a bit more of a relaxed. But then we've got the tongue going right over the nose, so I'm going to stop there, see if he wants me to carry on. He's just put his head back towards me. I've just asked him again, do you want that? Is that okay? His nose is still there. His eyes have softened a little bit. So that's his signal of saying, yep, that's okay. That's okay. And there, that he's doing again, sorry Poppin, is a contentment. So he's okay with all of that. Good boy. And if you can see, his whiskers have softened a lot as well. They're much more relaxed. They're less bristly than they were. So I'm just going to run my fingers down his paw. Good boy. Little bit of a massage again there. Slightly suspicious ears. What do you think you're doing with my paw? Take the clippers back in again. Mark and treat him for letting me do that. I should probably say at this stage that with Moth we tend to get one paw done a day. I don't try and do them all in one go. It's not worth it. It causes too much stress for him, and I would much rather, Mama, that this whole procedure was as relaxed and calm as this than any discomfort at all. I think part of the difficulty, particularly with Whippets, Mama, or any dog that's got small, fast-growing claws, it's quite easy to get into that place where you're thinking, right, well, it's got to be done. And, okay, sorry, sweetheart, you had enough. And being of that mindset can start to cause the problems, because, of course, the difficulty is while you're doing the work to try and desensitize them, you can't then get in there and whack off however many claws you want to. You do really need to take your time to build this up. If you have to get them done, I'm afraid I'm inclined to think that the only way is to take them to a groomer, or preferably to your vet, and allow them to do it so that they don't have that really negative association with you, which is not ideal. Ideally, I would be inclined to just let them keep growing for as long as you and the dog can bear it, but sometimes it does have to be done, and sometimes sadly it will need to be done under sedation at the vets as well, but it's much better to take that route than to undo all the work that you've done by suddenly saying to them, well, I'm going to listen to you sometimes, good boy, but then other times I'm really not going to. So that's 2 claws that we've done. My back is not enjoying this at all, and he's just pulled away again, so I've respected that and stopped. No, good boy. Okay. Good lad. You can see this is a slow, painstaking procedure for him. He's a good boy. And there was a tiny little pull away there. Good boy. Now at this stage, if he were a younger dog or a dog who was struggling more, I would have completely stopped at that pull away. Now that second one absolutely was. I need you to stop. So I'm going to stop there. But I don't know if you could see there, his eyes were looking to see if he was going to get a treat. So again, that's where I need to be careful. I need to not be marking and treating him for that, because in his little doggy brain, that will very quickly turn into the fact that he's getting marked for good boy, pulling his paw away. So instead, I've just marked him for being nice and calm, and then clever boy. Marked him for letting me hold his paw. That's very good. Good lad. Good boy. Taking the clippers back out again for him to have a look. And another cut. Good boy. He's a clever lad. So the other thing that's a bit difficult at this stage is that I can't entirely see how close I am to the quick. So ideally I don't really want to be shoving my face into the dog's paws, because again, if you loom in like that and you're looking very intently, some of them can find that quite difficult. So, and I've just become very conscious of what my eyes are doing as well now that I'm trying to concentrate, so I've just really softened them. Good boy. It's just as well you can't see any of this because I am making the most ridiculous faces. Got a little bit of a pull away there, and he pushed me with his other paw as well. Good lad. You're very clever. So that little wink there was him starting to relax. His eyes are going softer because I'm making my eyes much softer. Good boy. But you've got another lip lick there, so you can see he's very conflicted by this. It's not a massively worrying lip lick. His ears are a little bit set too far back on his head, but not worryingly. And now he's starting to get a little bit bored. Oh, that was my head knocking against the table. So you can see how because he's in a state of some agitation, I suppose. It's not massive by any means, but just a little noise like me knocking my head against the table there is enough to make him feel uncertain. So I'm just going to pull my hand down again. There's a clever boy. You are very good. Now, there are reflexology points on his paws, which sometimes we work, don't we? Good lad. Good boy. But he just said no thank you by that stare, so I'm not going to do that. Good lad, but you can. That's a good boy. Had enough. So that was a proper flick. Good boy. In fact, I have a feeling I lost concentration there and didn't mark treat you for letting me do it. Mama, that's a good boy. Good lad. Very clever boy. Just have another go. Good boy. Mama, there's a good boy. You're very clever. Mama, very clever. So you can see that even throughout this process, his eyes are changing all the time. Sometimes he's okay, Mama. Sometimes he's uncertain about it. And what's important is that I respect that every time, and that I'm not constantly pushing him just to get them done. So the thing that he understands, and I have to be really clear with this with him, is that when we've finished, we say, all done, because I'm now going to go on and do the other dogs. And I don't want him to hear the clippers or have them around and think that I'm going to swoop back on him again. So I want him to know that that's it. I'm not going to come back and try and do that again. Good boy, clever boy, so